So, this is what I've come up with as far as pretty sure it's their company secret about which characters have certain back. Sure, all of that is going to get scrapped, and we'll never hear from this game again as of April 26, 2018, due to the fact that they won't be able to sustain uh, a large enough player base, and that's what Journey Run's going to be heavily focused on, maintaining a high player base, and that could mean a plethora of things. Um, and as long as you have people playing it, you should be good. So for right now, another note to self, so I don't forget. Um, I need to take these videos down so other people do not watch this. Download it onto my phones. Um, yeah. So stories and backgrounds that I've come up with for the characters based off of what I've read of the backgrounds. So picking and choosing. Twin Blast, I have no storyline for him as of yet, but Aurora, I've come up with a storyline with Aurora and Countess, the vampire sisters. Actually, two sisters of a sister trio. So it's three sisters. So the sisters are Yin, Countess, and Aurora. So Aurora has turned to a life of crime. She goes around stealing shit, blase blase. She owns a ice lair in Antarctica somewhere cold. Like I haven't came up with the names for the places yet, but for right now, she's a thief that steals all her shits from other lands and brings it back to our ice kingdom and stuff like that. So Countess was started out as a human being, just like Aurora, but however, she had an incident that made her turn completely vampiric or vampiric. Turned into a life of vampirism. She always was fond of vampires, but I mean, she had not fond, but she had vampiric ways, but never wanted to become a vampire. But it all changed due to an event that has happened to her, where she actually ran up on some real vampires, and the Vampire King actually came, and some stuff went down, and she became a vampire. Not trying to share that story right now, but just trying to do a few hits for reminders. Yin Yin has had her family destroyed, and not entirely. The remainders of her family were the other two that I missed, Countess and Aurora. But all of the sisters think that they're dead. Like no sister knows about any survival of the other sister until the first encounter between Countess and Aurora, and their relationship it grows pretty strong uh, due to Countess like semi wicked ways, like it's fucked up, but then again it's not. To Aurora, she's a fucking crook. But then again, why she steals is because her family's been destroyed and she's been there trying to maintain and stuff like that. So they find some kind of agreement. And then Yin, who is seeking to find justice for her lost and destroyed family, who was once a part of the major dynasties. The eight, she was a part of the eight major families, eight major dynasties, eight major families, but one dynasty didn't make the cut. So in order for them to make the cut, they destroyed Yin's tribe or Yin's clan or family, and it allowed them to become the top tier family. So to fit into the eight, so Yin has come back claiming to be a part of, you know, one of the eight major families, and all of her documents are forgeries. She's a really good spy, and she's imagining and she must live amongst and work amongst the family that destroyed her family in order to attain the power that they have today. So she's now the first guardian of that, like the most trusted member of that clan, of that family. But every day she imagines the city in ruins, and one day she'll take out her revenge for her lost family. All right, so that's the story for the sister trio between Yin, Countess, and Aurora. I'm pretty sure they'll have different names and whatnot. Um, there's been talk about a galactic federation on this game, but I like to come up with my own galactic federation to make something similar to where they're headed, but with a different spin on it. So that's the biggest story that I have so far, right next to Morgesh. Morgash, her name is Morigesh, but I'm calling her Morgash because it's easier to come off the tongue, and that's probably what I'm going to name her. Or Centris, that's probably what I'm going to name her. Or something, something along those lines. So, according to Paragon lore, there's been animosity between the Fae and Morgash. Um, it turns out that the Fae actually destroyed Morgash's forest and killed Morgash, or Fae so thought. But and the reason because of this is because the Fae believe that all living things must come to an end in order to feed the land. And Morgash, I think she died, but then she came back to life, or the forest came, or the forest personified itself, and it became Morgash. But my spinoff of this is the same thing, except for the forest manifests itself into a nearby dead, a nearby carcass that just so happened to be female, and it becomes Morgash. It reanimates the body, and her eyes open up with a flash of green light in her, and that is like the spirit of the mother tree. It's showing the spirit of the mother tree, what I like to call the mother tree, that enters into Morgash's body. And notice that they're both green. They both have green. Not to put an even further spin on it, saying that the Fae is Morgash is actually a part of the Fae. But the Fae has this thing to where all things must die to feed the all living things must die to feed the land, and that can sometimes include other Fae, heartbreakingly, and you know, shit went down, and but Morgaz doesn't know that she was originally a part of the Fae or whatever. But she's had her forest destroyed, and she wants to take vengeance on the Fae, which she will actually have a name besides the Fae. Um, and she says it's time for your forest to die. In the final moments in the future when she finally gets her vengeance, it's time for your forest to die. And then she also kills the Fae, and that's when the secret that she was once a Fae as well sets in, and it just devastates her. That's what I came up in the beginning for those two, and also Morgish and Chimera also come from the mother tree or the Fae. Chimera isn't necessarily a Fae. He was similar to how the Fae began, which was the Fae began in, I thought about something like it was a world where angels and demons resided in split lands. So like half of the nation was angels, and the other half of what we would call today demons. And we had some interracialists that decided to interbreed and become and have a baby who was half angel, half demon, what we would consider today angel and demon. And she was lost trying to find herself, and that creature was the that was actually the beginning of the Fae or the fairies. Fae also means fairy, so fairyhood. So she became a fairy. She was the first fairy. The Fae was the first fairy, and yeah. She was the first fairy, or and the whole generation of fairies, began after her. It's a story going on and whatnot, and who's there. But Chimera was also imbued with the energy from the Mother Tree, and so was the Fae, and so was Morgesh. But nobody, but it's still a mystery as for what is the Mother Tree exactly, and stuff like that. And Chimera, I've decided to turn him, since a Chimera is a mix of different animals. I decided to reimagine them as a chupacabra. Something that looks similar to this right here, but it's it's totally different. And Chimera actually, um, he has his own storyline that's in the making as of right now. Um, Another thing I'd like to get into, which was I think I'm missing some. Oh, Muriel. Muriel is the light. She wears the light frame of of another land. Oh, I'll get to the moons in a second for myself. But Muriel, she wears the light frame. The light frame is basically what people would consider good. The saving side of people. She's a lifesaver. This is the side that cares for life and whatnot. Um, According to Paragon lore, they say that she doesn't have. She If I click on it, it says here long ago requested that a personality module be rewritten, but no longer knows why, and this other stuff. So, and then Kalari, uh, she wears the dark frame, which is the more darker side of things, which is killing, murder, and stuff like that. And and why she kills, she does not know. I mean, she knows why she kills, but nobody else knows why she kills. She does all the dirty work, and she does all the semi-glorious work, you know. But these two, I've decided to put a spin on Miriam and Kalari. It's saying that they're one and the same. They both used to be the same program, but which was the main Mother Tree program. So the Mother Trees are different. So it's a nature Mother Tree, and then there's a cyber Mother Tree, which is all the same thing, Mother Tree. But the source of the Mother Tree, nobody knows. It's the same thing. I'm trying to have a common factor between all of these different characters and stories. The Mother Tree. What is the Mother Tree? And nobody knows. Everybody wants to find out. It is the progenitor of all the characters. And there'll also be more characters in this. This is just what I'm taking from Paragon. Since they're shutting down and they won't be using it, Paragon will live through me and what I decide to put into it. And I'm going to reimagine it. And a whole lot of other games that have not seen the glory that I thought they deserved, I will be remastering. Those games to where I won't get sued, but you'll understand of the motive, not the source of my motivation, but the source. You'll find that atmosphere that was in these games in my future creations. So Miriam and Kalari, they think they're two separate individuals, but they're actually one and the same. They were one and the same being and whatnot. Same thing with Steel. Steel is more like a brother. He also comes from the brother to the two sisters. He just he's on a different program. Steel is the same thing, a program that was split between him and Wraith down here. They were once one and the same thing as well. You have you have the noble and you have the shadow. So noble ops, shadow ops. So this one is obsessed with. This one isn't necessarily bad. Wraith isn't necessarily bad. He's just obsessed with the shadow plane or the realm to where that's invisible to the naked eye and likes to it likes to play around in there. He's like a geek coming up with all technologies and stuff like that. He likes to shoot through walls, whatnot. Really, really tech savvy. And then Steel is one of the original leaders. He's hard body. He doesn't believe in all that technology crap, even though he comes from technology himself. He prefers the older traditional way of things. The going down and brawling way of things. Even though he still has value for technology, he just doesn't. He's just not real tech savvy. Um, that's what I came for. These people, they're all a part of the same thing. The mother tree, all of these, their relationships are still in the making, but they're all basically the same program, just different variants of it. And yeah, and Revenant, I came up with some stuff for Revenant. He's a bounty hunter who's been he was once a cowboy in times long, long past who died and came back to life through once again the mother tree, you know, and through a different variant of vampirism that Countess was given to. So it's different breeds of vampire. So Revenant was a different kind of vampire. Um, Revenant was the Revenant strand of vampirism because I'm going to name something different. And Revenant is, it's like a Revenant. It means, you know, it has a meaning that I forgot. I have to look it back up. So I'm trying to sync the link to all these different characters, and then and keep it going. So Terra and all these people, like, they don't come from the mother tree. There's nothing really spooky about it. These are people from Terra. I might use the original lore, but she grew up in hard times and decided to be a hero. Like, she grew up in times of hard times, like she struggled, and all that stuff, and she always wanted to become a hero like Greystone. She looked up to Greystone and always wanted to become uh, like Greystone and the Greystone family when she was a little girl. But Greystone actually the Greystone family actually got destroyed, similar to Yen's family. And Terra had her father killed by Countess. And she seeks to take revenge out on Countess. So I'm trying to have a common factor, like people want revenge, people have their family destroyed, people want to know where they come from, So I'm trying to keep a sense of interest in this, and I think I can really be very successful with the storyline if I continue at what I'm doing right now. Like Greystone, Sparrow, I'm gonna keep that. Greystone and Sparrow. Sparrow is Greystone's niece, and stuff like that. And Terra is somebody who was inspired by Greystone, but she has no relation to the Greystone family. Um, then we have Seraith, who is also as part of the Greystone family. So Seraith is Greystone's cousin, and she took on to paladinism. So she's a paladin, someone who wants to stand for the good and the light and the holiness. She wasn't born on she wasn't born on, nor has any knowledge of the land of angels and demons, which the Fae comes from. You know, she has no knowledge of that, but she has a belief system similar to like many other people in the real world today, which is Christianity and all that stuff about you know angels, demons, whatnot. And it's not necessarily, it all comes from that source, which was the Mother Tree, the Book of the Villagent. That's what she believes in. Book of the Villagent. Severog is the oracle of the Book of the Villagent. Nobody has never seen Severog that is in a religion, and Severog is actually similar to the Death Reaper, but he is the keeper of the true Book of the Villagent, and actually has ties that he's aware of towards the Mother Tree. Well, not he. I'm not sure if I want it to be a he, she, or it, but I'm just gonna go with it. Just keep it gender neutral, I guess. Keep it gender neutral for now. It, Death Reaper, the manifestation of souls, the collector of souls. I don't know. I may do something like he decides who passes on. I may make it to where he decides who passes on from one part of the universe to the next. So It's like I came up with something, which I'll get back to Sarafe, but I came up with something like Sevarog is like the universal Death Reaper of sorts, or one of many Death Reapers upon the world. And when somebody dies on one universe or one world, Sevarog and his band of Death Reapers or something like that, carries those souls to a new place, and they keep the reincarnation cycle going, and they breathe new life into, you know, on the planet. So I had an idea where, some of the people that died from The Walking Dead, or the people that died from, people like Batman or Superman from DC Comics actually died. The Death Reaper from or that area actually carried them and reincarnated them and gave the souls to another Death Reaper and brings them here into the world of Journey Run, which is, the Death Reaper. This Death Reaper was bring them into the world and ties them into all this stuff, and it just all ties in into the Mother Tree. What is the Mother Tree? Who is the Mother Tree? Why is all this happening? And it just keeps it going, and it keeps building off of the story like that. So Sarafe does not know about Sevarog or the Death Reaper. She believes in the Book of the Vigilant, but the Book of the Vigilant comes from Sevarog, and he's the keeper of the original copy, and he's also the creator of the religion of I don't even know if I want to call it religion or culture. I have to think about what I want it to be as of now. And Sarafe, she's a paladin who's basically a bipolar. Like, she's a bipolar paladin. She wants to be good, but evil sometimes takes over. So she's like a hybrid angel and demon. But she has no traces of fairy. Like, she's the first human who has you know the power to become, not power to become, but the power to have fairy like power, similar to Faye's. I was similar to Faye, not Faye's, but similar to Faye. And I've been thinking about how can I link these two together before Faye dies from Mortgage. And I wanted to, think about it, just come up with some ways and the way stuff will link together. And I just been trying to link everything together. And so far, that's not all that I have right now, but that this is what I've set in stone so far as of right now. Like Grux, I want to rename Grux. I mean, Grux is going to be, I think, maybe Gore-Tech will be his tribe, similar to how Paragon. So maybe Grux is from the Gore-Tech tribe, and Grux is just going to be his name, or maybe Grux can be his tribe. I don't know. I still have to think about that. And how Grux will be reimagined as a rhino, a real life rhino that stood up, and rhino mixed with human DNA, somewhere along the system, somewhere along the centuries or whatever, and made something called Grux, or I'm thinking about something like that, and I just been thinking about a lot, so trying to manifest some stuff and make all these ties link together. All of the characters may not be used. I may leave some characters out, but I think all of them will. I, I'm not sure what is it that I want to do. It's late, but this is what I came up so far as the storyline of these characters, and plus I have my own characters as well that come organically from me, and I also have characters that come from many different universes that I decide to remanifest their stories, or redo their entire stories, or redo the character altogether, and keep the original theme that they have, but remake the character. Um, Thinking about a lot of stuff. It's thinking about the moons. I don't know if I want to do a shit ton of moons. Like, there's Letha, there's Omega, and then there's the Sheen. So then there's the Ashura and all that stuff, and then there's Agora, which is the mainland of all this stuff. I don't know. Like, I've been thinking about doing an inner world, like similar to Generation of Chaos, where they have a lower world, and then they have, which is the center of the Earth type stuff, and then a surface world, which is, like that surface world that we know in the real world, and then there's the divine world, the world above the surface world, into the universe, type stuff. And I have to think about that. And Richter's story, I've been thinking about it like he's a cyborg, but he has a strong passion for torturing and the basically the police industry, locking people up and keeping them and make sure that whatever crimes that they done, they made sure that they regretted them. And yeah, if you go to the prison that Richter is warden of, yeah, I feel sorry for you. But um, I've been thinking about making all these people go into one galactic federation. Uh, Come up with a whole story, but for right now, that's all I have. Let me save this video, and this is all I have. Make sure to download this, Rashawn. Make sure to download this stuff and take it down after you're done. And yeah, that'll be it.